I think, and I'm not out of tone here, I think he can compete with any heavyweight in any era.
Pro boxing fans here in Riyadh with my mate Ade Oladipo. Always good seeing you, mate. We seem to bump into each other in Riyadh quite often. How's things? How's life?
Good, you know. Good to be out here again. Feels like we're always out here. It's where a lot of the big fights are happening. In fact, look, I say that, a lot of the big fights are happening all over the world now. It was good to come off the back of Taylor Catterall. You know, it was good to get a big British fight in. Do you know what I mean? Big atmosphere, packed arena. It was weird to be in the first direct without that being Josh Warrington fighting there. I didn't think anyone else could sell that, so it's good to be over there, but it's good to be back here. Very hot, 45, 46 degrees, which is crazy. But those are first world problems. I'm here and I'm enjoying it.
Let's talk about this card, 5v5. You've been there. This is why I like interviewing you, because you've normally at this stage talk to everyone. You got to see them in the eyes and sort of got a gist of their energy, their vibes. What were you feeling from Deontay Wilder, the main man, El Capitan? How's he looking to you this week?
I feel like he's almost trying to G himself up. This is a guy that obviously came in maybe very relaxed for his fight against Joseph Parker. I remember when prior to the Joseph Parker fight, I interviewed him. I said, "Have you missed boxing?" And he was like, "No." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And then a couple of weeks later, he's fighting Joseph Parker, and we saw the performance. So he's almost trying to find that fire again, and hopefully he's found it. One thing he did say in the interview is like, I don't know if this was a dig at Malik. Obviously, they're still working with each other, but he said something about he's tried to maybe change his style a little bit and tried to box, and that he just needs to go back to the old Wilder. He said there are boxers and there are fighters, and he's a fighter, not a boxer. So I think maybe they've just gone back to basics a little bit, and we know the basics is the 1-2 down the pipe and getting his timing right. So maybe he's trying to find that, and hopefully we see it on Saturday.
Zhilei Zhang, big bang in the other corner. We know what he does. We saw what he did against Joe Joyce, but we also saw him against Joseph Parker, so we got to see both sides of Zhilei Zhang. Where do you believe he's at right now? You know, a lot of people talk about his age, talk about his mobility. Does he still have the stamina? Where do you believe Zhilei Zhang is right now?
Yes, those last two things you said, mobility and stamina, because he's got the boxing skills. I mean, he can punch as well. I mean, everyone said you can't detonate Joe Joyce, and he detonated him. And then let's not forget what he did to Joseph Parker. I mean, up until round 6-7, there was only one winner, and then the batteries just ran out. And the batteries are going to run out if you are 300 pounds. I don't care how fit you are. He's slimmed down. I think he's lost about a stone. So we'll see if that's going to help. But age is age. Not everyone can be Bernard Hopkins and keep going until they're 50. So maybe it's just a case of he's just a bit too old. He's a bit too old, a bit too big, and not as mobile. But Deontay Wilder's not a mover per se. I mean, he's not got the best footwork himself. So this might be just a case of two monsters meeting in the centre of the ring and seeing who can land first. Is it Zhang that lands that left hook, or is it Wilder that lands that right hand? The left hook will get there quicker than the right hand, so you never know.
It's a fair point. I do want to talk about probably a fight that has a little bit more meaning in Dubois and Hrgovic, the winner of this, potentially fighting AJ in September. This is a good fight. This is something that Daniel's on a rise. We know what he's done in Riyadh. Hrgovic, you know, he's had a few fights here against opponents that, you know, he should be stopping. What do you make of this fight?
Interesting. Honestly, I've been getting a bit of a stick because I've been saying I think Dubois wins. And it's only because I'm very much on the what have you done lately type kind of vibes. And what have you done lately for Dubois? Even in defeat against Oleksandr Usyk, who's now the undisputed, he gave Oleksandr Usyk some work for the first 5 or 6 rounds. Obviously, we know how that fight ended, and whether or not you want to believe it was a low blow or not. So, you know, there's a lot to say that Dubois can hurt even the top level guys. And then he gave up 100 pounds against Jarrell Miller, and I know it's not the same Jarrell Miller, but he had to go for some demons in that fight, Dubois. When I thought he was getting tired and Miller was going to get to me, found something against a big guy. Hrgovic, it's funny because I was speaking to David Hay about Hrgovic, and obviously Hay had Hrgovic in the camp when he got ready for Fury. So everyone's like, oh my God, this guy's going to take over the world, Hrgovic. And we haven't seen it. I think he looked poor against Dempsey McKean. I do think Zhang beat him. And obviously Mark Demori, I could probably last a bit longer than Mark Demori. So I haven't seen it. I know it's there with Hrgovic, but I've not seen it. So I'm going with what I've seen. And I've seen Dubois in there, and he's done well against good fighters. And I think he's overcome the Joe Joyce quitting thing, and whether or not he's got it. I think he has got it. He's 26. He's looking bigger and stronger under Don Charles. I'm going for the upset. And this has been the land of the upsets. I mean, we had Agate Cabiel versus Frank Sanchez. We had Joseph Parker against Deontay Wilder. Some might say we had Zhang against Parker. We've seen a lot of upsets over here in the heavyweight division. Ngannou Fury might have been one. So I'm going for another upset. I'm going for Dubois to win.
What other fights interest you? I know the card's sort of got interesting fights throughout, but what other fight from the other three interests you?
For me, it's the other two that I think are more intriguing. I mean, we'll talk about Hutchinson Richards in a minute, but for me, Hamza Shiraz versus Ammo Williams is just, that's genuine 50-50. Like Hamza, both of them are so confident. I spoke to both. Hamza just has this aura about him. He's so relaxed. Everything seems so, like, he's got a plan. And he looks fantastic at 160. I still don't understand how he made 154 pounds, but he looks good. My only worry with Hamza, he's not done the rounds. His last 3 fights has been 1 round, 2 round, 2 round blowouts. Whereas Ammo, I think his last 3 has been 7, 8 and 10. So Ammo's done the rounds. So Ammo knows if it goes past 5 or 6, he's got the engine and the gas tank to keep on going. That's my only fear. But that's a 50-50 fight. And Nick Ball versus Raymond Ford, I haven't got a clue. I'm not even sitting on the fence with you, Uni. I haven't got a clue because Raymond Ford clearly struggling at the weight. Was talking about moving up to super feather. Nick Ball will make him work for every minute of every round. It should be a unification fight. Again, 50-50. So I think Nick Ball, Ford 50-50. I think Ammo, Hamza 50-50. I think Zhang, Wilder 50-50. I think Hergovich is favourite over Dubois, and I think Richards is favourite over over Hutchinson. It's a great card.
It is. Let's talk about 2 weeks ago, Oleksandr Usyk, Tyson Fury. It seems like now the rematch has been sort of set for December 21st in Riyadh. I want to ask you, from what we saw a couple of weeks ago, that first of all, a lot of talk about the corner work, and obviously it's not something that we can talk about too much in regards to that. In regards to that corner's got him to where he is, but from what you saw on TV and from what everything is being said on social media, what did you make of that teamwork? Yeah,
so we're quite privy. So when I wear my ears, I don't know if guys know what I mean, but I wear ears on TV, so I can hear the commentators. I can also hear the corner. When there's a big microphone that goes over the corner, I can hear what the corner is saying. And look, rounds 1 to 7, it's fine, right? Because you are getting Sugar Hill Stewart, and you're getting a bit of Andy Lee, and you're going to get a bit of John Fury. He's his father. He's going to say a couple of things, but ultimately, the voice you're hearing is Sugar Hill. When round 9 happens and panic starts to kind of ensue, I just need one voice. That's all you need. You go back to the old school ones of Emmanuel Stewart, one voice. Freddie Roach, one voice. Nazim Richardson, one voice. Give me clear instructions. And I think you got Sugar Hill, then you got John saying a little bit, and even Andy Lee. It's too much because you got basically 45 seconds, not a minute. You got 45 seconds to give advice that he needs to hear about. Okay, we need to do A, B, and C. And I think the corner just went a bit crazy. Honestly, I think the corner went a bit crazy. And like, I understand why John's there. But Sugar's the coach. You're paying him to coach you. You're paying him good money to coach you. Let him do his job. Like Sugar Hill, like Tyson Fury doesn't need a coach to get ready for Oleksandr Usyk in camp. He needs a coach because when shit hits the fan, you need someone to kind of, what am I doing right now? Because this is going to be crazy. So I think they're going to need to look at that in the rematch. Whether you have John Fury as part of the camp but not the corner, because I get why he wants to be there. And it just make it Andy Lee, Sugar Hill, and the Cutman. That's all you need. I almost feel like within chaos, which was the 9th round, you don't need more chaos. You need a little bit of calm, and I think that corner was just a bit chaotic. And look, not saying if it was a better corner he would have won, because I don't think he would have, but I do need just one voice in that corner, and it was several voices.
I've spoken to a few trainers since then, and they've said the same thing. Ricky Funes, who's 10 Goose Boxing, and Hamza Shiraz's trainer, said, "Listen, I'm the voice. If anyone else is saying something, I'll tell him to shut up." Basically, Oleksandr Usyk. Talk to me about this guy. Everybody's, we now see he's a generational talent in this era. Where does he rank for you, obviously, in regards to pound for pound, first of all? And secondly, where does he rank for you in regards to the heavyweights of the past, which is probably a bit more interesting?
Yep, pound for pound, number one. Number one. And it's such a good time, this pound for pound discussion, because number 1, 2, and 3, so him, Crawford, and Inoue are double undisputeds. So, I mean, to get in, you know how good you've got to be now to crack the top 5 as a pound for pounder? It's crazy, because Canelo has to be up there as well, because he's undisputed at 168 pounds. You've actually got to be an undisputed to crack in. To be in the conversation, you've got to be undisputed. And the other one will be the winner of Bivol Beterbiev. So basically, top 5 will all be undisputed guys, which is crazy. I know Crawford's lost one of his belts, but all undisputed guys. So for me, he's number 1 because he's competing in the land of the giants. Like, he's giving away £40, £50. And we talk about these young guys giving away, like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia giving away £3. And everyone's like, an uproar, £3? He's giving away 40. So it's crazy. With regards to the all-time great discussion, he's in there. He has to be in there, right? I mean, you can't be... I don't separate the two as well. You look at someone's amateur record and he won everything. And then you look at what he done as a cruiserweight, beat everyone away from home. And then in the heavyweight division, beat the 2 you need to beat in AJ and Fury. You'd like to see the resume a bit thicker, but he said, you know, forget fighting the fringe guys. Give me the top dogs. I don't need to play around here. I need a warm up. One more, okay, I'm ready. And he had that with Witherspoon, and he had that with Chisora, and then he went. I think, and I'm not out of tone here, I think he can compete with any heavyweight in any era. Any. I'm not saying he beats them. Understand, people? I'm not saying he beats them. I'm saying he can compete with them because he is their size. 6'3". That's what they were. Not everyone is 6'8", Fury 6'7", whatever. He's their size and he's their weight. George Foreman was 6'3", 220 pounds, 230. That's Oleksandr Usyk. And Usyk can box. So look, he competes with them all and he's a problem for a lot of them. I think some will get to him, but he's a problem for a lot of them. We are looking at something special. And I love the fact that he speaks English now as well. Because you can kind of, you get a bit more from him. And I like that as well. It's almost like Canelo went up a level in my estimations when he started speaking English. So did Loma. So yeah, a very special talent and one that I make as a big favourite going into the second fight with Fury as well.
I was going to ask you about the rematch. We've seen some iconic rematches over the years. We're talking about, you know, the sort of Barrero Pacquiao's and the Morales days, and them days. Obviously, Fury and Usyk are at a certain age as well. They've been through quite a bit in regards to their professional career. Can Tyson Fury rectify the wrong going into this fight, mentally and physically?
Mentally is the interesting one, because Fury always said that no man born from his mother will be able to beat me, and he very much not belittled Usyk, but obviously like you middleweight. You're not beating me, basically. So mentally, how's he going to get over that defeat? I think he can. I think if he sits down and watches that fight, I tweeted it. I think after round 6, I was like, oh my God, this is vintage Fury. He had Usyk hurt a couple of times and he just didn't step on it. Maybe worried about the gas tank, maybe worried about knowing the fact that Usyk comes on strong in the second half and he needs something stored for the second half of the fight. But I think it was close. I think everyone just remembers round 9. But it was close. This wasn't a case of, you know, it was a whitewash and Usyk won it by 4 or 5 rounds. It was close. So if I'm Fury, a couple of adjustments, stay fit, don't lose the weight, stay on the weight. Like whatever he came out of that fight weigh-in, maybe go up a few pounds, but don't balloon. One thing Usyk did, and this is why I'm so happy it wasn't 233 pounds, he sticks to his weight. He almost makes it like the heavyweight has a weight class. Because he comes in 223, 221, 221, 217. Fury needs to find his optimum. This is my best weight to perform at. I think AJ's now found it after a few years, and Fury needs to find it. You can't keep going all over the place. You can't keep. The body doesn't like that. So I think he needs to find a perfect weight, stay in camp, and train for this man, like almost Rocky IV. Go to the Alps or something, get a barn and train and train and train. I think he can win, but I make Usyk a favourite, but I think Fury can beat Usyk.
Ade, I am going to let you go. I appreciate your time as always a pleasure, mate. I will be seeing you tonight at the workouts, and let the week roll on, mate.
Yeah, let it roll on. One thing I do want to clear up, hopefully, before obviously there's a lot of talk about racial slurs, Willy Hutchinson, Craig Richards. And look, I've not heard anything. There's been so much media going around, but it seems as though whatever he said's been cut out. I hope that isn't the case, because I spent some time with Willy a couple of days ago. He seems like a great guy. I'm a big fan of Craig Richards. I would actually consider Craig a friend. And so far, the build-up's been spicy, and let it just stay as spicy. Once we get into sort of alleged racial slurs, we've crossed the line. And I get it. Look, there's trash talk in boxing, and we see it, right? Me and you've been around the sport for a long time, and you see the worst kind. But it never crosses over to that. Boxing has always been sort of called a gentleman's sport. Let's keep it that way. And I don't mind a bit of trash talk. I don't mind someone flipping a table. But once we go down the racial slur side of things, you've lost me. So hopefully, and I'm going to speak to Willy when I see him. Hopefully it wasn't what everyone's saying it was. And it might have just been interpreted as a racial slur more than it being a racial slur. But let's keep it friendly, people. Let's keep it friendly. You're here, you're making a lot of money. It's a big stage. Let's keep boxing, and let's not cross the lines of racial slurs or anything like that.
Cool. Ade Oladipo, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for talking to pro boxing fans. Top man.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.